Chapter 4, Danger in the Dark. Nancy and Ned gaped in amazement. The effect was almost as if the carousel had magically come alive in the middle of the night. "What happened?" Ned exclaimed. "Did those two spooks start it up?" "No, they weren't even near the controls. In fact, they almost fell off when the merry-go-round started turning. I think they were caught by surprise and scared. Here, see for yourself, Ned." Nancy handed him the binoculars. By now, a few lights were coming on in the park trailers as the carousel music blared out through the night stillness. The two dark figures abruptly fled. "I'm going after them," Ned blurted. He sprang to his feet, leaped across the chain barrier enclosing the amusement area, and headed in pursuit. Nancy followed close behind. The two mysterious intruders were running away from the carousel in the opposite direction from Ned and Nancy's stakeout position. So far, the only lights in the park were those turned on in the campers and trailers belonging to the concessionaires and ride operators. Already, the two fugitives were disappearing in the darkness. Nancy paused for a moment as Leo Novak came running up. Evidently, he had dressed in haste and had not even taken time to pull on a jacket or other top over his undershirt. He looked both startled and angry, but his eyes widened in surprise on seeing the pretty teenager. "Where did you come from?" he demanded. "A friend and I were keeping watch," she said briefly. "Over there among the trees." "See anything?" "Yes, two men came up to the carousel." "Did they monkey with it?" "I don't think so. At least, not with the operating machinery. They seem to be interested in the horses. But you'd better make sure everything's all right." Without bothering to explain further, Nancy resumed running after Ned and the two intruders. Her last glimpse of the boy had been as he had veered off to the left, behind the Ferris wheel. But now he too was no longer in sight. From the direction Ned had been heading, Nancy guessed that his pursuit of the fugitives must have taken him between the video game arcade and a row of refreshment counters. She ran the same way. Beyond loomed an array of booths, stands, and rides that made up the gaudy heart of the park's midway. Just now they were a maze of gloom and shadows. Where had Ned gone? Nancy could hear running footsteps somewhere in the distance, but it was hard to judge the exact direction the sound was coming from. She could only plunge forward at random, zigzagging among the concessions, hoping to catch a glimpse of her vanished friend. At first, she had been reluctant to call out his name for fear of alerting the sinister prowlers. But as her worries grew for his safety, Nancy threw caution to the wind and shouted, "Ned! Ned, can you hear me? Where are you?" Her heart flew into her mouth as she rounded the corner of a shuttered souvenir stand and almost stumbled over something lying on the ground. The obstacle, barely visible in the semi-darkness, felt bulky enough to be a human form. At that moment, someone switched on the overhead lights of the midway. Nancy gasped in fear as she saw the figure at her feet. It was Ned, sprawled motionless on the ground. "Oh, Ned! Ned!" she cried, dropping to one knee. "What happened? Are you all right?" She turned him over and touched his forehead and cheek. He stirred, and his eyes opened. With a faint groan, Ned struggled to his feet. "Wow," he muttered, rubbing the back of his head. "Someone must have conked me." "Maybe you'd better rest a while," Nancy urged anxiously. Ned gave her a quick hug and a sheepish grin. "Don't worry, I'm okay," he reassured her. "I don't think I was out more than a few seconds." In any case, further pursuit seemed useless. After a quick circuit of the amusement park area, the couple gave up their chase of the two intruders and returned to Ned's car. Next morning, the young sleuth slept later than usual. When she came downstairs, a copy of the River Heights News was lying on the sofa. Nancy's eye was caught by her own picture on the front page. The accompanying story told how the famous girl detective had accepted the newspaper's challenge to solve the mystery of the haunted carousel. "Oh, you've seen it already. I was going to show it to you, Nancy." Hannah Gruen, the Drews' motherly housekeeper, came into the living room from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron, and saw the teenager reading the newspaper article. "Yes, it really puts me on the spot," Nancy commented ruefully. "In more ways than one," said Hannah. "Our phone's been ringing all morning. Thank goodness it didn't wake you." "Who was calling?" "My goodness, I don't know. Some were cranks, I guess. Everybody wants to tell you how to solve the carousel mystery." "Hannah, you should have put on the answering machine." "That's just what I finally did, dear." "Oh, wait a minute," the housekeeper added. "There was one sensible call. A girl who gave her name, Joy Trent. She wants you to solve a private mystery for her." Just then there was a knock on the front screen door, and a familiar voice called in. "Nancy, it's me, Bess." "Oh, just a minute," Nancy said, getting up and going to the door. The pretty girl looked bright-eyed and eager as she accompanied Nancy into the living room from the front hall. "What's going on?" she inquired keenly. "I tried to call you this morning, but I kept getting busy signals. I couldn't get through, so I came over to invite you to a cookout at my place tonight. Hello, Mrs. Gruen." Bess finished in a rush. "How would you two like some breakfast?" The housekeeper responded with a twinkle. "Bess? Nancy?" "Sounds good to me," Bess laughed. "Actually, I did have a nibble when I first got up, but that was quite a while ago." Nancy turned to the housekeeper. "Never mind, Hannah. We'll just pop into the kitchen and get something for ourselves." After making themselves a leisurely breakfast of waffles with blueberry syrup and sausages and coffee, Bess and Nancy washed the dishes and made the kitchen tidy again. "Bess, how would you like to come to the amusement park with me?" Nancy asked as she took off the apron she had donned for their dishwashing chore. "We won't be long. Then I'll drive you home." "Sure, great." On the way, Nancy told Bess of her and Ned's adventure in the park the night before. "Oh, golly, is Ned okay?" Bess inquired sympathetically. "He seemed to be, thank heavens. Luckily, he was only hit hard enough to stun him." "Honestly, Nancy, you do get into the wildest adventures." The teenage sleuth chuckled. "Not on purpose, believe me. But at least that's better than getting bored, isn't it? Anyhow, that's why I'm going to the park. I'd like to see if I can find out what those two sneaks were doing on the carousel last night." As noontime neared, the limited parking space outside the amusement park entrance was already filling up with cars. So Nancy turned into the nearby marina lot instead, as Ned had done the night before. Then she and Bess headed back on foot to the carousel. Soon after they had entered the amusement ride area, Bess nudged her companion and pointed off to the right. A park policeman was waving at them. "He's the one who went after those pickpockets yesterday," the plump girl exclaimed. "Yes, his name is Officer Doyle," Nancy murmured. "I wonder what's up. He looks like he wants to talk to us." They met the policeman halfway. He was accompanied by a hard-jawed man in a gray suit, whom Nancy had never seen before. "Say, you were mighty lucky yesterday, Nancy," Officer Doyle greeted the teenager. "Maybe you didn't realize it, but when you tangled with those crooks here in the park, you were really flirting with danger." End of Chapter 4.